again and welcome to the Laughter Crafter. Well, this week I've made some homemade potpourri. I've used fruit, oranges, lemons and apples. I've also used cinnamon sticks and star anise and lavender and rosemary. I've dried lots of those things in my dehydrator for about 3 days, but if you don't have a dehydrator you can just use an oven set on low. And then I just laid them, so pretty easy. A little bit of netting on the top and some raffia and it's finished. I also did use some essential oil, some drops of melon essential oil, but you could put in whatever scent you like. And you don't even have to put that in. Lots of aromatic scents coming from this jar even without that, but I do like the melon essential oil. So it smells really, really yummy and it was easy to do. So here's the limerick that goes with this week's craft. So I've made potpourri that is fruity with herbs and spices to booty. No, I know it's not good. Some oil, a bit, the aromas, a hit. All in all, I think it's a beauty. I hope you think it's a beauty as well. I really like it. So now here's my joke for this week. So a man goes along to his doctor because he realizes he needs to lose a little bit of weight and he needs the doctor's help. Doctor said, sure, I'll give you a regime, you follow it and come back in 3 weeks' time and we'll see how you go. I want you to eat normally for 2 days and then skip a day, normally for 2 days and then skip a day, and keep repeating that pattern for 3 weeks and come back and see me. So the man went away, came back in 3 weeks' time, came through the doctor's door looking trim, taut and terrific. The doctor did a double take and said, wow, you look fantastic, something has worked for you. And the man said, yeah, it really did work, doc, but I hated it on day 3. I just hated it. The doctor said, why? Were you hungry? The man said, no, all that skipping. I like that one. Okay, why don't we get on with demonstrating how to make this jar of potpourri. So I've got the things I think I'll need to make the jar of potpourri. I've got a lovely glass jar here. I've got rosemary growing in my garden, so I've picked some of that, and some lovely lavender as well. I've got fruit, a couple of oranges, a couple of apples, lemons from my lemon tree. I've got cinnamon, and this is going to help to keep things from going rancid. Even though these fruits are going to be dried in my dehydrator, this is going to help preserve their shelf life basically in the jar for a lot longer, as will the cinnamon cools and the star anise. So lots of aromatic things going to be going into this potpourri. Then when the jars are all full, I'm going to cover it with a piece of this netting that's left over from when I made the paper, the screed for making handmade paper, which I used on the photo frame. And I've got some raffia which I'll tie around this netting. So that's it. So now I'm going to slice up all of this fruit and put it in the dehydrator, as well as the rosemary and the lavender. I'll put it all in the dehydrator for probably a couple of days, and then we'll come back together again and I'll layer it all in the jar. So I've dried the oranges, apples, lemons, rosemary and lavender. The lavender still a little bit of colour. It's quite crispy and dry, but the scent is still there. The same with the rosemary. I haven't pulled the little leaves of rosemary off. I've left them on the stalks. It's going to give us a little bit more body in the potpourri. I've also got the star anise and the cinnamon sticks at the ready. And speaking of cinnamon, cinnamon can act as a fixative in the potpourri, as will something called orris root. You can go and buy orris root from specialist stores, but cinnamon will also be a fixative and it's a lot more readily available. And if you want to, you can add in some drops of an essential oil of your preference. So I'm going with melon. I really love this one. It's exactly like rock melon or cantaloupe, as we say here in Australia. It's really, really nice. You don't need to go overboard with it. You've already got lots of strong aromatics already here with these different items. And so I am going to put in a few drops of the melon. So what you can do, this is a melon essential oil, and what you can do is just sprinkle a few drops on the dried fruit, and we'll just sort of infuse through there. A few drops on the apples. I'll just leave it at that. Oopsie, got some on my fabric, that's all right. So that's it. Now we're going to start layering. So I've got my clean dry jar here ready to start layering these different elements of the potpourri. So I think I'm going to start down the bottom with some lavender stalks, because I want to have several layers of each thing. I'm not going to put all the lavender down there, so maybe about a third to a half, perhaps. I don't need to fill it up completely. I'd like to put in a cinnamon stick along the side, so later on that will be able to be seen, like that. Now I'm going to put in some slices of orange. And remember, what you're really going to see of all of these layers is what can be seen at the side of the jar. So keep that in mind when you're layering, what you can see at the side. So you might want to see some of the pith and the actual fruit part of the orange, or you might want to see the rind. Of course, the rind being curved fits in nicely around the edge like that. So I'm going to stand up that cinnamon stick. Now I'm just going to continue layering, but you get the idea. Yeah, different layers, several different layers, and I can already smell that beautiful lavender down the bottom. I can smell cinnamon. I can smell that melon essential oil, and it's all going to be really lovely when it's finished. So I'm just going to keep going now by myself. So I've done all the layers, and it's looking pretty good. I used up just about everything. The only thing I've got left over is some orange slices, but I'll keep those in a jar, cool dry jar, for summertime when I'm making cold drinks and that sort of thing. So I mentioned before about the cinnamon, dried cinnamon being a fixative. So what I've been doing as I was layering, I would sprinkle in some cinnamon. So I'm going to do this right at the very top as well, just to show you, not too much, just like about half a teaspoon. That's it. But there you go. So it should come right up to the top. There we go. And I can smell all of those lovely, lovely aromas from the herbs, from the fruit, from the melon essential oil. That's really good. So I've cut some of that netting into 2 circles with my fabric scissors. And I grabbed a elastic band. So I'm just going to put that netting over the top of the jar, hold it with the elastic band just until I tie around the raffia. So that's what we'll do next. Put the raffia on. There we go. That's holding that nicely. That seems to be fairly even. So I have 12 pieces of raffia here. You can have more than this or less than this. I think it's going to probably travel around twice to cover that lacquer band. I'm going to twist it because sometimes that helps it to sort of behave itself. But if they're a little bit sticking out, that's the nature of raffia. It's pretty rustic looking, and I quite like that. But you could use ribbon, you could use rope or string, or whatever you want. Now that piece has decided to do its own thing, but we'll make that behave a bit. So there we go. I'm going to take that around like that. You come here. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. Around there. See if we can get around twice. You want that netting to stick out underneath, just like a little skirt. There we go. I have enough, I think, just to make a little knot here to finish it all off. So tuck that in there. In you go. And tie that up like that. And just do any tidying that you want to. As I said, raffia has a mind of its own, so I'm just going to sort of, there we go, that's okay. I might just grab my scissors and trim you off, seeing you don't really want to act like a team member, little piece of raffia. There we go. So I quite like that. You've got 2 pieces of netting here which are covering the opening to this jar, and you can see what's in top there. I can smell all the beautiful aromas coming out through that netting. And as the time goes on, it is going to just smell more and more lovely in whichever room you choose to put it in. So that's it. I'm going to trim off these little bits. And that's it. There we go. So there you go. That's our jar of potpourri. I hope that you're going to have a go at it. It wasn't difficult at all. And certainly wasn't expensive. The only time-consuming part was drying those fruits and herbs. But you can do it in your oven if you have an oven and not a dehydrator. Easy anyway. Fun thing to do with your grandchildren, or grab some girls together and make a few jars. Maybe make some for the school fete, or keep in your present box when someone's having a present. You can dig one out and give it to them, or just put them around your house. It smells absolutely gorgeous and it looks pretty special too. I hope you have a go. Okay, that's it for this week. I hope that you'll keep on doing some craft because it's great for your mental health. Keep on laughing as well because that's even better for your mental health. And I'll see you next time. Bye.